You're listening to the Small and Supercharged podcast with Ria Freeman, episode 92. Today we're going to talk about UGC, which I will probably get the letters wrong a lot. I've also said it was USG, MSG, God knows what. I get quite confused with abbreviations, but UGC stands for User Generated Content, which is if you are using social media for your business or your brand, or actually if you're an influencer, you could well have had your content used as user generated content for brands. Now, as a brand, user generated content is a really, really good thing to be including in your content plan, in your social media plan, because it is showing that people are loving and using and enjoying your products. It's also a great way to place your products in the kind of environments that you expect them to be used in, and that could be quite aspirational to potential customers too. So if you had a saddle, for example, it's great to see the saddle, as a studio shot on a white background. That can be really useful for your online, from your website point of view. It's useful to see it on top of other horses on professional photo shoots, but it's also lovely to see that product out competing, out hacking, depending on what kind of style it is. The same with, let's say breeches. It's great to see them in a modelled shot, because as somebody looking to buy, when you're on their website, you want to see the detail. You want to see, where the stretchy bit on the bottom of the leg starts, or if, the kind of detailing on the seat or the belt loops or whatever. It's also nice to see potentially, if it's this kind of product, it out competing in a professional photo shoot. But it's also nice to see someone just having a lovely time with their horse riding it, looking at the different sizes and shapes of the people who are riding in the product, using the product, seeing how it fits them, seeing what they love about it, watching them talk about it. And also you start to connect with people through this. So user-generated content is a really, really big deal. And the great thing is, for brands, from another point of view, you're not having to pay to have that content created. If you work with a professional photographer, you will pay them, quite rightly. And there's definitely a huge place for professional photography, and I'm not going to tell you there isn't. And I think that when it comes to your, your website, if you're selling online, it's good to have those really, really crystal clear shots that show what's going on. It's good to have shots styled for specific campaigns. It's good to have a really good mix, but the user generated can be incredible. And it's nice as well, because you're allowing people who are your fans and followers to inject their genuine style and their own passions and their own thoughts around things. You're allowing that to shine through by promoting that content. So if you just go and pick anyone's account that you love, any brand, ideally go for a product brand because it's easier, and have a scroll down their feed, you'll probably see a mixture of professional photography and user generated shots. And if you look, it might show that they're wearing, because when we do professional shots, we have the focus of the shot being the product and the product alone, quite rightly. And obviously you can, set it up in a different way and have different elements that complement the main product. But when you have user generated, you get more of an overall picture often of how everything fits together. So maybe that's how someone's accessorized their bag with a particular colour of boot, or how somebody has, styled their riding top with a non-riding product that makes you think, oh God, that's cool, I could wear it to the shops as well, or whatever. It allows you to see the overall picture. It allows you to get styling tips and different ideas. And it's just a great way to see more of the product and how things fit. So think about how many brands, maybe not in our space generally, because I think our equestrian and country brands are more inclusive when it comes to different people of sizes and shapes. Well, I used to think they are. But if you are looking at a traditional, say size 6, size 8 model, and I've got nothing against models for the record, not at all jealous, but they're not going to fit the product the same way that somebody who is a size 16, 18 would. And somebody who is 5'8" isn't going to look the same in a product as somebody who's 6 foot or someone who's 5 foot, because it just isn't. It just doesn't work like that. But through your user-generated content, you can show how different products fit different people, how different people style different things, how they're used in different situations. And these might not be things that you've even thought of, and they might not be things that you'd pay to have a shoot around, but by God, they add to the story. So it's, in the easiest terms, user-generated content is content generated by users, and that's either users of the platform or your clients. I think they would have to be your customers really to have your product. And it can be that you gift the product, and obviously you should say that they're a brand ambassador or it's affiliated with you if they're creating content just for you. And more importantly, if they're posting that content, they need to label that correctly. But often you can create user-generated content, and really good user-generated content, from customers who have bought from you. And if they're actually that passionate about what you do that they're taking pictures and sharing it, isn't that a really good way to start potentially working with influencers more? Because if they bought from you, they're flag waving for you when they're paying for the privilege. So if you were to gift them something, they're more likely to do a good job. That's a side note. So how do you know that people have been posting about you? It's really a bit of an education process. A lot of people just do this anyway, but encouraging people to tag and use hashtags on Instagram is a really good way of doing it, and encouraging them to tag you in their caption on Facebook is too. Now on Instagram it's much easier because obviously you've got the icon that allows you to see all the posts that you have been tagged in the image, and that's the key bit really. Because if somebody includes you in a caption and tags you, you will be seen, but it'll be flagged in your notifications. And that means if you get a lot of notifications in, you might lose that notification because it'll shoot off down and you might not be able to get it back again easily. But if you encourage people, if you're an influencer listening, please do this. It really, really does help. If you tag the image, it says tag people or brands in the image, tag the image on Instagram. Because on your Instagram, they are all collated in one place where people have tagged the image. And that means from a brand point of view, it is about 1 million times easier to look through, because you just tap on that icon and you can see who has tagged you inside the image. And that, when I say inside the image, that's when you tap on the picture. You know, when the brands come up, or the people or the accounts come up when you tap on the image. That's what I mean by that. So if you tag the image, that's really, really useful. Now, some brands also have specific hashtags that they invite people to use. So that means that I would also tag the image in this case, just because, why not? But also use the hashtags that they talk about. Now, sometimes if you order from them, you might get a little card or something in your order, which encourages you to post to, it's usually Instagram, I'll be honest, using a specific hashtag, because again, brands and people can follow hashtags, and you can search by hashtag and then look at recent or top, and you can see the places that hashtag's been used. It's much easier to get that information because it's all put in the one easily accessible place. And even brands that try their very, very best to stay on top of all the content to make sure they don't miss something, when it's spread to the four winds, if they get a lot of notifications, if they've launched a competition and notifications have gone mad, your post that you have put a lot of time and energy into posting could get lost. And it's not because they are being rude or they're being ignorant. It's just a case that they have had a lot of notifications and yours has just fallen off the bottom, with lots of other people's probably, if you just include the name in your caption. But if you do tag the image and if you use a hashtag that they are promoting, that will help you too. So as I said, one way to find that hashtag is to look at the information you get sent with your product. Sometimes there'll be a card or a little leaflet, and some even have competitions running with the hashtag too, and they have customer of the month and things like that. Another way to find hashtags that brands are using is to look at their bio, because sometimes they will have the hashtags that they're using in there to encourage you to post. So I would do that too. As I said, some people do also run customer of the month style competitions. Some don't, some do. I wouldn't do it just for that, to be honest, but it's a nice incentive. It does encourage people to post. And yeah, it's all good. Now, what you might then want to do if you are a brand, you may look at these pictures and go, God, they're really, really good. I would like to use them on my social, on my blog, on my whatever. And if you're an influencer, that's brilliant, largely, because, you know, when you're tagging people, you want them to be aware of what you're doing. You want people to be able to find what you're talking about. And realistically, if you are wearing a product that you love so much that you are tagging and you're talking about, if that brand wants to feature you on their feed and therefore promote your account to its followers, that's a win, generally. But it is really important that as a brand, you ask permission. It's really important, because you don't have the right to use that picture without permission. And if the influencer has had a professional shoot done, you also need to get permission from the photographer. It is the photographer that you need to get the permission from. So often when people are posting, it will be their picture or their partner's picture or whatever. And that's obviously one thing. But if it is a professional picture, you need to get that permission as well. It is really, really important. So I would say 99% of the time, maybe 99.9%, you will not have a problem. And you will send them a message or you'll comment on their post and you'll say, oh, that's a really stunning image. Would you mind if we shared? And they'll say, no problem at all. And that's great. If it's a professional photo, you are probably better to you've definitely got to ask for permission. So whether that's that you tag them and the person who posted it and ask them both permission, or you send them a direct message and get their permission that way, just get their permission. However you want to do it, obviously do a bit of Googling, do a bit of research on that, but you need to get their permission, whether that's you send them a direct message, whether you email them, whatever you do, get their permission. If you do not get their permission, do not use it. Even if the image is stunningly amazing and beautiful, it doesn't matter, because the photographer could well send you a bill for its usage. And also, if it's just a customer image, you don't want to annoy that customer by using their images without their permission. As I said, 99.9% of the time, you'll get a, oh yeah, that would be amazing, thank you so much. At which point you make sure that you tag them in the caption, you thank them, you show it's a repost, you talk about the photographer in the caption so people can see who did it. Ideally, you tag the image if you can. So you make sure that it's credited, but the credit alone is not enough to post. You have to get that permission. And I think a lot of people are missing that step, and it's not good. And you need to get, specific permission as well. So if you say, would you mind if we shared? To me, that would suggest it would be sharing on the platform. If you then want to add it to a blog post or use it as an advert or whatever, you need specific permission for that. So, I think if you say, do you mind if we shared? I think people would probably expect that to be shared on social. I think if you want to take it off social, you need to ask again. You need to be really clear with how you're using the images. And it doesn't have to be a long kind of drawn out process. And often people are really thrilled, quite rightly, because they're getting exposure usually on a bigger platform. But you've got to ask permission. You've got to ask the photographer's permission. It's really, really important. Now, the benefits of the brand are huge. Obviously, you are really helping to nurture your customers. You are showcasing your customers. You're talking about your customers, which is positive. You're showing that you notice them, and often that's a really big deal. If you're a brand and you're showing that you are noticing people, you're thanking them because you love their content, you're commenting on their content, you're really getting those connections going. That's a really brilliant use for social media. It's a great way to connect with people who are trying to help you. And don't underestimate the value in that. It has got a lot of value connecting with people. And it's brilliant content. You know, I obviously watch quite a lot of social media because that's what you do if you're me. And I have seen people's user-generated content posted by brands do much, much better than professional shots. And not just as a one-off, quite regularly, depending on a lot of different factors. But user-generated content can do incredibly well. Obviously, from a brand point of view, it's not costing you anything. If you want to send them a thank you if it does particularly well or something like that, or you've got a customer of the month competition or something like that, absolutely you go for that, you do you. But it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to cost you anything, but it's a really great way of developing connections, building relationships, finding more out about your customers and connecting with the people who are promoting you and really love your brand. If people are bothering to take nice pictures, and some pictures I've seen which influencers have taken, which would be user-generated content, are absolutely stunning. Like you wouldn't always know if they were professional or non-professional. They are so good. It's a nice way to showcase them, but it does do massive good for your brand as well. From an influencer's point of view, it can be a really good way to help increase your reach and exposure, because if you have taken pictures of a product and the brand has got quite a big following on social, that can be really positive because you're getting out there to more people, you're getting in front of more people, and that can be really good for you as well. Obviously, this might not always be the case if you want to keep your content on your feed and your feed alone, but generally, you know, obviously with Facebook it's much easier because you just press the share button and you can share it, but with Instagram there's more processes to go through. So getting out there in that way can be really, really useful as long as you're tagged so people can see it was from you and it's your picture and it's your face or leg or whatever it is. And that's important too, to make sure that you get that recognition with however you get it. So yeah, that is user-generated content for you. I think there's massive benefits from all points of view with user-generated content. I just keep wanting to say UCG. Whenever I look at the letters, they move around. So I'm just going to keep saying the long form user-generated content. I think that's the easiest way to do it. There's massive benefits from all points of view. There really, really is. And you can really use this as a massive tool to help you as a brand market yourself, and also as an influencer. If you're working in inverted commas with these brands and you're allowing them to use your content, that can be a really, really good way to get in front of people who are likely to like your content. Because if you really love a particular brand of boot and you are being promoted on that boot's channel, platform, the chances are that the people who follow that boot brand could well be interested in what you've got to say, because you are maybe, at least in your boot taste, you are similar. You might not be similar in other ways, but you have got some crossovers. So being promoted in that way could really help your reach and help your following too, especially if that brand has got a significantly bigger following than you, or even just a slightly bigger following than you, or a more engaged following than you. So that is my little chat to you about user-generated content, whether you're a brand, how to and possibly why you should be using it, and if you're an influencer, how it can also help you, but also making sure that you are giving that permission, that you are speaking to professional photographers if you are using them about how that would work. And you're doing it so everybody wins, because that's the whole point of this, isn't it? So thanks so much for listening. If you'd like more social media help, I'm going to give my own mastermind a shout out. So I have a membership group called Small and Supercharged Mastermind, and each month we have a monthly masterclass by me about something connected to social media, promotion, marketing, PR, that kind of thing, and driving your business forward. We also have a monthly mindset masterclass from the incredible Jane Pike from Confident Rider. We have free stock images to use from the incredible, I just keep saying incredible, but it's true, Sophie Callahan, who is just an insanely good photographer, and she lets the members of the mastermind group use a number of stock images each month for free. And we also have weekly live question and answer sections, and I do put quite a lot of opportunities into the group as well to help my group members really prosper. So if you'd like to know more about that, there's going to be a link in the bio, but if you pop over to my my website, riafreemanpr.co.uk, there is a Smallness Supercharged Mastermind tag at the top in the menu. If you have a click on that, you might like it. I live in hope. We've got an incredible little community over there as well, which is growing all the time, and they're really supportive of each other. As always, if you have listened to this, please do screenshot, please share to your Instagram stories, please tag me. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you're a brand, what you think of user-generated content, or if you're an influencer, how you feel about brands using your content, obviously if they ask your permission first. Thank you so much for listening, and we will catch up next week.